What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, 10 minutes till the market opens. I wanted to do something a little different, probably from now on. So I've been paying a lot more attention to the 15-minute chart, second day plays, really how the stock acts after it gaps, and I kind of follow it for, a few days after because the stock's still in play. There's still decent volume in some cases, and there's some really good-looking setups in some cases. So, kind of going back to last week. We had, or I guess last Friday, a bunch of retail stocks gapped down pretty big, about 10% in some cases, regardless of them beating earnings or missing earnings. So Foot Locker was one of the situations where they beat but dropped 10% here. I can't find the news anymore. I don't know what happened to it. Well, anyway, Foot Locker beat their earnings, and they gapped down a ton, but looking at the chart here, you can see big gap down, and then it closed pretty strong here on really big volume. So what I'm kind of expecting to happen today here is to look for some kind of long, probably over this 48.50 since it was the last spot to hold. I want to see it bust through, kind of hold, consolidate for a little bit above the level, and then I'll look for an entry long to take it maybe to the moving average, probably Friday's previous high day. Not the best, not a ton of room in this scenario to make a big move or anything, but a move nonetheless. I really want to just kind of take these trades to get more data, start recording them, start typing it out how I, what I thought, what I felt about it. So there's a Foot Locker, and then Gap was pretty much the exact same scenario. I see close moving higher here on bigger volume. The pre-market it's sitting above it, so we're at 30 right now. No, the high was 30. We're sitting somewhere in between 80-66. So in Gap's case, it looks like we're gapping above the area where I'd want to be long. So I kind of want to see the open hold above this. I mean, if these stocks take off without me, then that's just what happens. That's just the way it goes. The main point of these is to get a really good entry to kind of hold them and hopefully hold them all day. This thing's got something probably 30, 30, 20, 30, 25, but if it can get past this, then we got till 31. So definitely a possible move there. 80SK. Same scenario, well, not the same scenario, not beat its earnings. It's at all-time high. There was a triangle. Was a triangle, not anymore, but kind of the same thing here with Gap. It's gapping above yesterday's high. It's kind of sitting right on it, so same situation, just looking for a little bit of consolidation to hold it. Originally I wanted to be shorting CGC because this move, I mean, they're doubling their stock price within 2 weeks here. I mean, it's almost time for a pullback, I would think, but pot stocks are crazy strong right now. So, I mean, I don't want to get in the way until I can clearly see that it might be time to start thinking about taking this thing the other way. But I figured I was looking at it on this candle here, I thought it might be time for a little reversal. But again, we're popping up 6-7%. So, I mean, no reason to be shorting yet. Hibbett missed their earnings. Gap down pretty big. Never found any strength throughout the day, and you can see that it kind of found a little bottom here around 2035 to 2050. So I was wanting to short underneath, but again, gapping underneath it. So I definitely want to see it holding. I was looking at WSM. Crazy big gap up. The next day it kind of didn't hold that well. Kind of start looking like it might want to fail here and start moving back down. I'll just have to watch the price action on it because there's no pre-market volume on it. And then kind of the same situation with X's here. Just a huge gap up, 20 points now. Looks like it might be starting to top out and see a top here. Just trying to find a place to get short. So that's kind of it for the second day plays here. Stock I'll be watching at the open is TLRY. It's gapping up again on really good news. Partnership with Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation to be supplying some cannabis products. So I'm wanting to see this thing close to highs, maybe take an opening range, take a gap and go. We'll just have to see. It looks like it's following CGC pretty close here. Except this case it got a new high, CGC didn't. So I think, I don't really know what's going to happen today, because CGC has been the leader for a while. But CGC doesn't have any news today. TLRY's got the news today, so I'm wondering if TLRY is going to be the leader. Either way, I'm pretty sure they're both going to be fairly close to each other in price action, so we'll just have to see what happens. Alright, we are about to open up here in a little bit. Things are just taking off right now. I mean, there's green across the board. Super green today. Definitely always what I like to see is green days. Bunch pot stocks just sitting right at the pre-market highs here. Looks like on something going on up there, 50s. Spread is quite wide. Not wide enough for me to not take it. Wow. Pop right back. Oh my god. Alright, maybe it is kind of wide for me to take it. Definitely not that many. That's not enough. That's kind of a tough one here. 250. I'd probably go 300. Yeah, I better go 250. Oh man, there's a bunch of good looking setups right now. I think I like TLRY the most though. 250 stop. I'd like it to be about 50 cents, but chances of me actually getting 50 cents if it's a loser, quite slim. So that means 500 could be, I can go about, I don't know, because that whole dollar, we'll stick with this. We'll see what happens here. AMD is exploding. Oh my god, I got in. Don't like it. Just getting out. Too slow, too choppy, too everything. It's just not taking off. You know, it might take off, but I mean, if the bid can't catch up with it, then what's the point? CGC, there's kind of something. I think I would go for this one too. 88. Spread gets a little spready. I could probably go about 25 cents. If we can get up there again. There's no problems with waiting the 4 minutes. I haven't taken a 4-minute one in a while. Crone was a pretty good one. Netflix still struggling. I could probably get pretty big here. I mean, well, now I'm not getting big. Need a trade. Stop loss is probably about 75 cents. So I think 400 should be about right here. Take over high day if we can get there. There's a hidden seller here. Broke him. Hidden seller here too. Alright, we're getting there. Look to see what happens around that 25, because that 25 kind of held pre-market. I need a decent move here. It's not enough yet. Yeah, came back on me. It's either gonna go or it's not. If it comes back and retests, then I don't want to be waiting for it that long. That's right, small loser. That's the point. So IQ really took off here. That's the 5th minute. So this is an opening range, but it doesn't look like an opening range. What's wrong with this? Something's wrong with this. There's a ton of resistance in the way. There's one. TLRY ended up making a move. Nothing's still bouncing around in here. Crohn's at VWAP, and it's looking like it's holding. It's like 15 is what's held. Hmm. 25 is VWAP. Yeah, it might just go. Broke it. See if it can hold it though. See if it gets bought back up. Probably not, because the pot stocks are kind of dipping pretty hard right now. CGC's falling. TLRY is also falling. CGC is just dumping. Very wiki. Couldn't tell if there was a hidden buyer there or not. I want to watch that again. If there is, I'm shorting this thing 500 underneath. Could very well squeeze 20 cents against me very fast. So 500 is definitely tops. So it only got there once, but there was a lot of volume happening at it. Jeez. SPY's whipping around. The only thing that's strong is IQ. Alright, well, I'll turn this back on if I find something. Okay, got some stuff going on here. TLRY made a symmetrical triangle, might be breaking out of it right now. It bounced off of this 51 level. I want to see it there again. There may have been hidden buyer. If there is, I want to get in. If there isn't, I'm probably just going to let it go because I don't really want to take it just based off of the triangle. I want to try and see if there's something else going down there. At the same time, the other pot stocks are also kind of crashing here. Really not much strength in anything besides Netflix and IQ, so it looks like tech is moving up, pot stocks moving down. And I didn't even get a chance to see it. I was looking at something else. It happened so fast. CGC though, it's back to that level that it was at before, and just blew right through it. Yeah, TLRY's taking off again. Now there might be something at this 50 that I want to pay attention to. I probably only take about 200 shares because spread and anything else that might hop in the way. Just want to see this thing down to 50 before I do anything. $200's definitely moving closer here. Might be something. Nope, not anymore. if we get down there. Oh shoot, I just missed it. There's a hidden cellar there on Kron. Either way though, this looks like it might be setting up for something here. We're starting to hold above VWAP, and the 10 level is holding super strong, but we keep bouncing around everywhere, so I think what I can do is try and get 1,000 at 15 here. It's just the other pot stocks just aren't strong right now. They're just kind of sitting around VWAP, not really doing too much. And I think once they really start taking off here, because I mean the SPY has done nothing but move straight up. No pullbacks, no nothing. I got a big buyer there at 12. I want to do this. I want to get in on this at 15. Stop loss will be just right below at 09. I'm in. So really tight risk here. I don't want that in yet. See what it has with that big buyer too, if that big buyer can hold. Because we're holding above VWAP right now. So if this thing wants to keep moving higher, it definitely could. $30 is going to be the area where there might be a little bit of some trouble. SPY's still moving straight up. Pot stocks are just kind of flat, really. What I think I want to do here is I want to take profits at the high of this consolidation, and then I can just see if I can keep cycling it back and forth. Oh shoot, and it broke down. Got me and everybody else. Jeez. That's big candle. I mean, the other stocks really aren't making a move in either direction, so this is just on its own. Alright, I'm gonna have to be done for the day. It's 3 losses, $300, so I'm gonna stick around and watch for a little bit longer though. So I'll do a recap in a bit. Alright, I'm gonna be done for the day. I want to do a little recap on everything today, really. Trades that I did take, trades that I didn't take. Second day plays, the works, because nothing looks good for the second day plays, and well, nothing's really looking good anymore either for the gap stocks, as if we really had any gap stocks. AMD came out with a new graphics card, gapped up a little bit. Usually it's such a slow mover that I decide not to trade it at all, and I mean, I don't really see anything in here anyway that looks good. I mean, we had a kind of an engulfing candle here with some decent volume, but it just wasn't good enough for me to be interested. Start with CGC. CGC, I'm going to still assume that it's the leader. Things are kind of following it for the most part, I think. I still can't quite tell. Obviously, going into it thinking long, really it just failed. It's stuck under VWAP the entire day, so I have a feeling that that's why any other long on the other pot stocks really never worked out at all. TLRY, I took the gap and go trade on it. Super good setup, looking great, looking good and everything. Spread started exploding once I got closer to my entry. I mean, there's been times I've seen it as wide as like $1.50. I mean, somewhere around it here it's about $1.50, but here it's like worst case was about 50 cents. I mean, I got in at 64, right at where my limit was, just above the pre-market highs as well. We got above it. It was really slow. It just couldn't take off when I wanted it to. So I mean, once it popped back down, I covered. I mean, the spread wasn't really working for me, but I mean, as soon as I got out, thing popped straight back up and ended up making new highs. It was just really slow. And I mean, whenever I see a gap and go that's slow and it doesn't go in my favor and the spread's wide, and I mean, the SPY was in my favor. I don't know, there just wasn't enough for me to hang in there to really see this thing out, because I mean, just as easily as it went up, it could have dropped against me another 50 cents just through a tick in the bid. And I mean, it could have been a lot worse than what it was, so I can't really be mad at myself for not hanging on to it. I mean, yeah, it was a winner if I hung on to it, but just all the signs and everything else around it just wasn't looking good. But I mean, on the long side of things, pay attention to the 5-minute chart here. Got underneath it, came back, covered half of it, got underneath it again. A bunch of dojis in here, a bunch of wicks above VWAP, and then it finally got above, came back to test VWAP, and it got above again. So around this area is when I was looking for a possible long. I was watching here at this 53 where there was a hidden buyer there, popped underneath. I mean, it just never found a good spot for me to want to get into this thing, because at the same time I was always watching CGC. I mean, if CGC is going to be the leader like it has been, and CGC is not even getting above VWAP at all, well then, you know, the chances of the other pot stocks, the sympathy plays around it being a good long, you know, just kind of, I mean, that's a really key point, is having the leader also move the same direction as the rest of the sympathy stocks. I mean, we never got it, so I mean, it's really not that much of a surprise that TLRY or CRON never did it. So CRON ended up doing the same everything really. And then once we finally got above it, look at the 5-minute, we had a pretty decent strong move to get above the VWAP. Had a doji closing on it, but I noticed on the 1-minute that this 10 here was holding super strong, so I figured I could get a super tight risk reward on this one. Risking only about 5 cents on it, 6 cents on it with 1,000 shares, so I made $60. Potential to make about 20-25 cents on it. I mean, it was definitely there. It was a solid setup. It's just, again, same situation. CGC not being bullish, not helping the sympathy stocks. So, I mean, we cracked down and I ended up stopping out, you know, 6 cents away. So I lost 2R on this one. Came back up again, it just bounced around, failed. The 50 coming up on it definitely helped, but I think because CGC just wasn't having any strength to it, I think the rest of these aren't going to have any strength to it either. So I mean, once the 5 caught up with it, I was watching it here, and it just never took off. So then we had Netflix. Netflix was another gap and go, kind of a late gap and go, really. I want to look at it. This one. So, little red shooting, I can't really tell, I guess that's a doji. Kind of a doji there. Came back again, and then we popped back up. So I did take this on the 6th candle. So that was 1st minute, 2nd minute, 3rd minute, 4th minute, 5th minute. And then I took it long over the 6th minute. So this is kind of a late gap and go. It's probably the latest gap and go trade that I've ever taken. Pretty happy I got out break even, honestly. We popped up close to pre-market highs, and it never found the strength to continue. So as it came back down to my entry, I just said, you know, I'm already down $200. No sense in letting this thing, trying to force it to work. So I just got out and ended up crashing pretty hard, and then it just took off. And I mean, again, there was the tech sector, or I guess the tech stocks that were in play today. The only entry, the possible entry, was right about here. It's been on the 5-minute, had a hangman doji, almost a bearish engulfing, almost a bullish engulfing, and then it just kind of took off. So I mean, it wasn't clean enough, wasn't super clear. So I mean, it's one of those trades I'm gonna miss, I guess. I don't really know what else to do about this one. That's just kind of, this is not enough. What else we had? We had IQ. IQ was pretty interesting. I mean, just still super strong. Started off really strong. Had a decent opening range play. That may or may not be true, actually, because Lightspeed's candles. So IQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I mean, it was kind of still an opening range play. It may have worked. Another big thing that I noticed on my stats is that I looked back at my old opening range plays, and on all of them, I took them all over the high of the wick. And looking back at them, I could have taken all of them over a breakout of the bodies. So I'm changing my ORB to a breakout of the bodies instead of the wicks. Because my past trades, it still would have worked. So it's just another way to improve. I guess there kind of was a good opening range play on this one if I wanted to take it at this 48.50-ish. But after that point, there really wasn't. I was watching it at the view app here, but I mean, it straight bounced right off of it and then just kept on moving. So really, there wasn't a good entry for me to get in on this one either. If it can consolidate here a little bit more, maybe a few more candles, would have been pretty decent, but it just never happened. I'm actually going to use this for these. So for the second day plays, I was looking at Foot Locker for a long over this right at the open, just sold straight off, so there was nothing there. Gap immediately just took off. And I mean, there was nothing else here, and now it's just kind of starting to fade off. I could have looked to get an entry over here somewhere, but it's already so far gone that it just didn't look good anymore. Hibbett, same as Gap, just the reverse, just took off pretty weak right from the open, and then it just kind of bounced around, and again, never found a good spot. Something going on here, though. Problem with this one is low volume, too. I mean, there's a couple minutes in here where there's nothing trading. There's 300 shares on that 1 minute. Then ADSK just straight sold off. Failed to move higher, and then looked for another consolidation period, never got it, and I mean, we're just tanking now. And it looks like CGC might finally be starting to turn around. I mean, who knows? We'll have to see towards later in the day what it finally decides to do, but it's not looking super special right now. So I'm finishing the day down 320. Could be worse, could be better. I mean, I think the only possible mistake was this Crone trade, but it was a good setup. It was a good entry. The only problem was just that the leader just didn't have the strength to move higher, and therefore Crone didn't have the strength to move higher. Same with TLRY. I actually don't know the other pot stock names. I should probably figure that out, see what they're doing. I think GWPH was one. So this one's had strength, but there's also absolutely no volume on it. Either way, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of the way the day goes, I guess. It's just, these aren't horrible losses, I didn't really break any rules or anything. It's just what happens sometimes. I mean, take another good gap and go trade tomorrow. This is just wiped out, so I mean, that's all I need is just one good trade. We'll be back ready on the week. So, not really too disappointed, not too upset, not too happy, but not too upset. I think that's the main thing. So, got plenty of stuff to do today, plenty to read, plenty to watch, see what other people are doing, check out Twitter, and we'll just pick it up tomorrow. Thanks for watching.